we're getting a lot of comment and DMs and things where the women are like, I'm just not attracted to him anymore. He's overweight. Would you please teach men about hygiene? I need to do a whole podcast on man's hygiene. I was
I'm
taught
so
years
thankful
ago,
that
you
you
go
have
into a
good
sexual
hygiene.
encounter with your wife, wash your hands.
Yeah.
Clean out from beneath your fingernails.
Yeah.
Make sure your breath is fresh. Make sure your hairs are trimmed. You got bush everywhere, brother. Like, come on, man. No, like, we need to give each other our best.
Yeah.
I want to still be attractive for you, 65, 70 years old. I want to give you my best. I want to let myself go.
Yeah. Hey, everyone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Doing Life with Ken and
Tabatha.
We're so pumped to have you guys with us. We have been married for 25 years,
Yes.
y'all. It has been the best 23 years of my life. You do the math. The first 2 years was horrible, but now Tabatha got herself together and things are much better, praise God.
Yes, I did get myself together, but I'm not the only one that had some getting together to do.
We had a lot of getting together to do, and so we welcome you to our podcast. This, of course, is a relationship and marriage podcast first and foremost, but it's not just that. It's also a personal growth podcast.
Yeah.
And our goal is to help people get closer to God and also to the people that God has placed in our lives. And so welcome.
Amen. And hey, if you're new to our podcast, we want to say welcome.
Yeah.
You know, we pray for you. We pray for the people who watch and listen. And also, we just pray that God brings people in our path that really need this.
Yeah.
We don't just want to be entertaining, but we want to give life-changing information.
Yeah.
So we share with you our lives and what God has done to change our lives so that you can do the same.
And we got a lot of people who write in. They write in, and we want you to do this as well. We want to build a community. You know, there's so many people that are lonely nowadays, or they feel like they don't have a place to belong. And I know that we're online, and maybe we've never even met personally, but we want to welcome you into a part of the Doing Life with Ken and Tabatha family. And so you can write in, let us know. Rachel wrote in, says, this podcast is what we needed. My husband and I listened to the one about the 7 signs of a sexless marriage and how to fix it. It blessed our souls. I've hit the subscribe button. I think it blessed more than your soul. But hey, thank you so much, Rachel, for writing in. And we get these kind of testimonies all the time. And so if you're new to our podcast, we release a new episode every Thursday at 3 p.m. We would love for you to tune in, but you can also hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, hit the icon button, share a review, a positive one. Of course, let us know how this has been a blessing to you. Your encouragement and prayers over us help us continue to bring you content that is life-changing and valuable as well.
Hey, but today's episode, it's going to be good.
It's going to be real good. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Today's episode is entitled Sex and a Sandwich. Sex and a sandwich, all right?
One of my favorite phrases after being married for 25 years.
Yeah, why is that?
It's just simple, easy peasy.
What do you hope people get out of today?
Well, we didn't tell them, technically what that's about, but I hope husbands and wives get a better sex life.
Yeah. And so, this is specifically targeted to married people, and we really want to help people have great sex again. I just feel like in the world, they have portrayed sex between two people that are unmarried, two people in whatever ungodly situation they can come up with. They make sex hot and passionate and all of these things. And then when it comes to the marriage sex, it's like, this is my ball and chain, and it's repetitive and it's monotonous and it's the same thing. And we say, to heck with that. That is not what we have to have. We can actually have healthy sex lives. And we're talking about 25 years of experience.
Absolutely.
We can have robust sex lives. We can have great sex lives. And matter of fact, I think that the best sex is godly sex, without question. Great sex is the best sex is between a man and a woman who is married, who love one another. And the longer you're together, it gets better because the intimacy grows.
You have history
together.
And it's more meaningful. I think, we love the romance movies. Me personally, I love a good rom-com. And
you've suckered me into it as well.
I do.
I love
you like them too now. They're so good. They're not, a good rom-com has never hurt anyone.
But do you know my problem with rom-coms? My problem with rom-coms is that they only deal with the infatuation stage of a relationship.
Yeah.
They usually end with the first kiss.
Yeah.
So they go through this whole thing and they come through a scene where they almost kiss, but they don't kiss. And then they break up, and then there might be somebody else, but they fall in love. And that's the problem with many people's relationship is they get stuck in the infatuation stage which is the butterfly feeling stage, but they don't know how to go into the fight for power stage, into the mature stage of the relationship.
It's almost like we get tricked into thinking that's all there is, especially if you grew up without a man and a woman in a home, without your mom and father in the home, without seeing the example of a marriage in the home. You think that that's all there is this infatuation, butterflies, we love each other, and we're ripping each other's clothes off.
Right.
It's like we think that it's produced all the time. Like we kiss and then all of a sudden we teleport into the bedroom and our clothes, fall off of our bodies.
And it's hot and it's sweaty and it's steamy. And so then after you get married for 5
years. There's like
years,
this music in the background playing.
And then after you're married for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you almost subconsciously think something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're not having good sex and everybody else is. That's the way it looks on social media.
Well, you think it's supposed to be one way, but that's not real.
But it's not that. We're going to give you the real deal today. We're going to give you the real deal. Can you give me just a little bit of your perspective? Maybe as a woman, how do you view sex? Or maybe even as a woman of God?
Absolutely. I think that first, sex is a gift to the married man and the married woman. I think this is a gift from God, created by God. It's holy. And so I think it's something to be celebrated. I think, secondly, sex is a need between the married man and the married woman for intimacy, emotional needs for the woman. More, I know I'm putting us in groups. But for the most part, women are very emotional, and we have emotional needs satisfied whenever we are intimate. For the men, there's a physical need there, a sexual appetite that is not unholy, but it's okay. You have that. And so I think it's a need. I think it's a gift. And I also think that it's something that we should not, as husband and wife, withhold from one another. I know 1 Corinthians, I think chapter 7 talks about the marital bed, and that the husband should not withhold the sex or his body from the wife, and also the wife shouldn't withhold from the husband. So I think it's something that's a gift from God. We should enjoy it and celebrate it and have a lot of it and not withhold it.
Come on, give me some
Does that
horns
make
for
sense?
that. Give me some horns for that. No, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, I believe that as well. Why do you feel like, I feel like when it comes to talking about sex, especially in the church world, it feels taboo. It's almost like if we talk about sex, even you can see sometimes with people's comments like, man, they're talking about this topic so raw and so real without hesitancy. And sometimes that makes people uncomfortable, but we don't feel about it that way. We look at it as this is a gift from God. Sex is God's idea. He obviously made it. I always say that sex has 2 or 3 main purposes. Number one, it's for procreation so that we can be fruitful and multiply. Number 2, it's for enjoyment. It's for enjoyment between man and wife, husband and wife. And when you read the book of Solomon or the Songs of Solomon, you can see this enjoyment towards sex and how sex is described as something that's wonderful and beautiful and something that's to be enjoyed.
Absolutely.
And so I think that there are people in the Christian world that they go off into, well, sex is just to have babies. Well, that's very mechanical and I ain't with it. Or there's other people that they get the other side. It's almost like because of their past sexual traumas or how they view sex as dirty, when they come into the marriage relationship, they bring all of this philosophy that they've gotten from the world or their past trauma with them. And then they have a hard time just opening up with their spouse and being free to enjoy this wonderful gift. Can you just speak to that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I know that you've had sexual trauma and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. And I've felt shamed, because of my sexuality or even talking about my body. I've been shamed about that. And all of these things, you have to overcome by the blood, the blood of the Lamb, like, Jesus sets us free. But I will say that, we have an enemy, we have Satan, he takes what God created and he perverts it. And so God created sex. It's something good. It's something to be celebrated. He created our bodies,
Amen,
for we're fearfully and wonderfully made, right? So he created us. And I think the enemy has had a long time to establish perverse feelings, thoughts, institutions, like everything when it comes around sex. And I think it's something that should be celebrated. But most of us, I believe, most believers, we come into the body of Christ and we have to renew our minds when it comes to our perspective about sex. We have to, just like anything else in life, go back to the Word. The written word of God and say, what does God say about sex? What was his intention about sex? How does he view sex? And we can find that, just like you said, all throughout the Bible.
Why do you think that people, this is a stumbling block for some though? Why is this a struggle?
I think we've been hurt. It's something that has been very intimate. I think that it has been used as a weapon against us. It's been used as a weapon against women.
Okay.
And then it has been used as a weapon against men. So many people have been sexually abused,
Right.
sexually assaulted. And we have those bad memories and traumatic experiences that we need to overcome and be free of.
Yeah, that's one thing, the trauma, but I also think that there's a lack of information.
Yes.
There's a lack of godly information. So I'm even seeing people that might have saved themselves for sex until marriage, but then they get married and their sex life is not very good because it was an area that they didn't think about at all. There was no training. They went through premarital counseling. Nobody really told them where the clitoris is or their body parts are or how to reach climax or what's right and what's wrong. And so there's a level of sexual frigidness instead of sexual liberation, like godly liberation.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things that said, like, we don't talk about it in church. And, you talk about it with a level of appropriateness, but we don't talk about it with our kids.
Right.
And like starting from, sex starts when they're little, like a little boy and, just learning to talk. And he's like, Mommy, what's this? Baby, that's a penis.
Right.
Boys have the penis.
And we always teach our kids, anatomy. We teach them specific body
because
parts.
You can't be afraid. Like when I was growing up, people would whisper like the penis, the vagina.
No.
They use the word, oh, she's a virgin. I thought virgin was a cuss word. I didn't say it for years of my life because I thought it was a cuss word and I shouldn't say it because people said virgin.
Yeah, we got to take back. We have to redeem those words. We have to celebrate virginity, okay, without creating condemnation for people who were like us that was not virgins when we got married. So, but we have to celebrate virginity. We have to use body parts. This is, sweetheart, this is your vagina.
So that there's no shame.
There's no shame. This is your penis. Boys have a penis. Girls have a vagina. God made it for, and it's all age appropriate. You're not giving us a 5-year-old what you would give to a 16-year-old.
Right.
And then as they grow, you're getting ahead of the natural curve because a lot of what I learned about masturbation, I learned it when I was like 12 years old, 11 years old. Honestly, at like a family reunion from a cousin that was like 16 or 17 and I was like 10 or 11. And so I like to try to
That's so common.
I know. I like to try to beat to the punch. Like, so I know when my kids go into sports teams and locker rooms, I remember when I heard the words like boner or heard words like that and I didn't know what it was. I remember I was at an AAU basketball tournament in a hotel with a kid that might have been, I didn't know those words. I just want to beat to the punch.
Right.
When it comes to my kids, I want to say, hey, you might hear this. Let me give you a godly perspective, a biblical perspective, and dad's perspective concerning. So I want to get in front of it, but I'm trying to be age appropriate. I think that sometimes we as parents make those conversations too hard. We don't know how to have them. And I would rather just be technical, but straightforward so they can get the right information before the wrong. You agree with that?
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So sex to us is not taboo. And so, but how do we overcome? So we both had a sexual past, okay? It's a sexual past that we're not proud about, but you can't change your past, so we don't live in condemnation.
That's right.
Okay? We've done things that was sinful. We've made mistakes. But then after we got rededicated our life to the Lord, we got filled with the Holy Spirit, we did make a decision that we're going to do everything God's way. And I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about financially. I'm going to steward money God's way. My time, my calendar, I'm going to do it God's way. My sexuality, I'm going to do it God's way. And we went through a season where we really renewed our mind. And we sat down with a pastoral couple and we said, we want you guys to teach us everything that you know about sex.
Yeah.
And we want to hear it from like mentors, like godly people that's been married for 30 years that we see fruit in their life. And so what we teach now, 25 years into marriage, is things that we learned 20 years ago when we were just having difficult conversations. And I remember we would talk about sex and I would ask you a question. I would say, sweetheart, what do you not like that I do sexually? What do you like? And I remember you say, well, I don't like this and I don't like that. And then we would go.
I will say it was so awkward at first and so highly uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but a lot of people aren't willing to have those conversations, then go into the experience and say, well, I'm not going to do this. Hey, sweetheart, you like that? Well, no, I don't really like that. I mean, it's just like a buzzkill. I mean, it's just a mood killer. It's just like, bruh, we having these conversations, but watch this. After you figure out how to please each other for the next 20 years, you got it made in the shade. It's not like you don't have to adjust. I mean, we've went through menopause and babies and kids and ups and downs, and you continue to talk about it. But I think many people aren't talking openly. In our family meetings, when we're on rhythm and doing them weekly, one of the things in our family meetings every single week is how sex.
Yeah.
Scale of 1 to 10. What could we do more? What could we do less? Do you like, and it's just this touch point where I want to make sure I'm meeting your needs. And I think that you do the same for me.
I think it's true. It's one of those things that we don't educate ourselves about. And when it comes to marriage, there's so much preparation that you do for marriage. And it's more than just coming in as a whole person and working on yourself, but then understanding that you're going into a covenant relationship. You're entering into an institution. Right. Any institution you enter into, think about going to college. You had to get your dorm supplies. You had to buy your pillows. Like we have a sophomore now, and you have to like buy so much stuff to just live, eat food, snacks, whatever. Then you have to buy clothing. Then you have to buy your books and your laptops and like all of this stuff. There's a mindset also, like we're preparing you. Okay, this is how it's going to be for your day-to-day life. Marriage is an institution. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
It's an ordeal.
Okay. It's a way of life for the rest of your life.
And it has to consistently be tweaked.
Yeah. And there are things that you have to maintain all the time. Sex is one of them. Finances is one of them. Communication.
You can't take your foot off the gas on this.
That's right.
When you get married, you continually have to check up. So let's talk about this title very quickly, Sex in a Sandwich.
I love it.
Okay. We've picked this title on purpose. Why?
Because here's the thing, like you said, we've been married for 25 years. We've been in ministry for I don't know how many years. I don't know how many women's conferences I've preached or how many marriage conferences we've preached and things like that. And like if you were to give me a tip like about the sex life or like give me one bit of advice to, have a happy marriage and to keep my man happy, I would say sex in a sandwich. As long as he has a sandwich and some sex, he's happy. I'm telling you.
Can I get an applause right there? I need an applause right there.
It's real easy.
Because all of my men said, amen.
Sex in a sandwich.
Listen, I look at it like this. And this is what, I think that we're in this sex battle secularly right now where there's like women who are taking out the trauma that they've had and they are mad at men. And then there are men who are mad at women. And so sometimes when you hear like, take care of my man, you're, well, what about me? What about me? What about me? This is not the segment for that.
Yeah, it's not.
We're going to go to the men's responsibilities in a few weeks, y'all. Right. Y'all just hang out with us. We're a family.
And there is, we do, we understand that people have been hurt. We understand there's anger. We understand that people are going through things. Yeah. It still doesn't make it right to misappropriate your anger or blame.
One of the best pieces of advice that we can give you in a marriage is don't try to change your spouse because you can really only change you.
You're right.
So when you read a book or you hear a sermon or you listen to a podcast, it shouldn't be like, oh, yeah, they need this, they need that. You should be saying, God, how can I get better? How can I improve as a wife? How can I improve as a husband? How can I improve as a parent? Because the only person you can change is you. And the only way that person's going to change is that God has to change them. Yep. If you ever try to change your spouse, you will always be frustrated and you will always be disappointed. And so this is called Sex in a Sandwich, what a husband really wants. And I think that we're starting here, and we'll get to the ladies later on, but I would say this for men, we're simple.
I agree.
And I can't speak for all men, but for the men I know, we're simple. It is not that hard to make your man happy. Like if I have a sandwich and I have some sex with my wife, I'm like, all right, I'm pretty good. I'm doing pretty well. I mean, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It's true because we've been through a lot of the phases in life. We've been through, where we didn't have kids yet. Right. We were 5 years married without kids, and then we had kids. But I was doing my thing career-wise. You were doing yours. I could not be home all day long. Leave early in the morning, come home late at night because I'm out grinding. But as long as I came home and you had a sandwich and sex, it was all good. we've been through the phases where we had kids, you know, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my body feels crazy. I feel crazy. You know, I got a newborn, all of this stuff. The house could be a wreck.
Right.
You know, there might not be any other food in the refrigerator, but I ordered a sandwich. You know what I mean?
You are overstating that. There's never not been food.
There's never been there.
That's the point of the whole segment.
Right.
Like, have some food in the refrigerator.
It's true. Well, here's the thing. So people say the number one complaint is, or like my number one objection to this is, Pastor Tab, I don't know how to cook. You know, I'm not like that. And my response is, you don't have to know how to cook a gourmet meal.
Right.
But as a wife, in my opinion, you need to know how to cook something.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is just know how to make a sandwich. I know wives who their husband is happy with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and that's okay. Now, you would never go for that, a peanut butter and jelly, okay? But that's all right. I know people that are happy with a ham and cheese, a turkey and cheese. You like yours. I make yours kind of like gourmet, 3 layers on it.
You have spoiled me.
I put a layer of meat,
I was fine
cheese,
with that
lettuce.
back in the day.
I put an olive on top.
Yeah, I was fine back in the day, and then you came in and you changed my whole taste buds.
Because that's just what I like to do.
Yeah, you changed my whole taste buds. Now you can't go tell the world like I'm sedity and I need everything and I can't do a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Because when we first met, I was eating peanut butter. I could make my own food. But that's now you stepped in. And I ain't got to do that no more. And I feel good about it. My man is going to eat the best. Okay, so that's your decision to take care of me.
Yes.
And it's much, much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So now I'm like, how can I take care of you? But I think what I pick out from that as well is that you need to talk in the premarital states about domestic responsibilities.
Learn how to cook.
We understand that there's going to be men who do the cooking. We understand that our roles can be reversed. But we're talking about principles because we talk to hundreds, if not thousands of couples all over the place. And these are the common things. The common things is like, listen, and you say, hey, if you can just fix the sandwich, can I just take it a step further? And see, and this goes back to the part about how there's things that I can say that are truth, but just because I'm a man, there are some women who don't want to hear it. Now, if you go and say it, they'll be like, oh, Tabatha, you're just the wonderfulest thing ever. Can we just pause right there, though, and just adjust that just a little bit? Because there's some times that we have to hear from another man to better take care of our man. There are some things that you can say about how to take care of me, but there are some things that I know men. I know man. I've been a man. I've been around man. I played sports with man. I was raised by man. That I can really speak to women who want to have great marriages about what you need to do to take care of your man. And one of my pieces of advice, please don't get upset with me, is if you can't cook, you could learn to cook a little better.
You could learn.
You could. I'm not saying that you got to go out and be Chef Boyardee or Paula Deen or whatever her name is. I'm not saying that you got to go out and have your own cooking show, but you could take a class. You could read a cookbook.
Yes.
You could get on YouTube University and figure out, man, what would that do for your relationship and your marriage? Like for me, if there is something that I know that you need, I'm going to do the best that I can.
Yeah.
To go out and learn those traits or try to improve myself so that I can improve our relationship. I don't care what cost I have to pay. And I just feel like if we take more of that position, we'll always have needs that are met better.
Yeah, absolutely. The Proverbs 31 woman, I hear a lot of women say, oh my gosh, the Proverbs 31 woman, it just stresses me out to read that. Because it's like, to me, I was always encouraged by it, but I think a lot of my natural gifts and strengths, I like to cook, I like to clean, I like to dig in the garden, I like to do I just like it all.
Right.
But there are a lot of women who, especially nowadays, don't do that. They don't like to cook, they don't like to clean, they don't like, whatever.
Okay.
But my advice always is the Proverbs 31 woman isn't saying do this, you have to be the source of all of this. But the Proverbs 31 woman, it says that she rose early in the morning and made sure that there was food for her maid servants and that she had her own businesses. She went out and brought linen and brought it back in and sold fine linens. And so she was a businesswoman. And in her household, she knew how to cook a little something because she might have woke up and she might have got up in the morning and made a continental breakfast, for her helpers and maidservants who came into the house, meaning that she had people who came and helped her cook. She had people who came and helped her take care of her kids. She had people who came and helped her take care of her house. And so as a wife now, whatever that looks like for you, you have to figure it out, and you have to define, what your household, what you need, and what it looks like for you to be a wife to your husband, So you could have somebody come in and cook the food for you, but you still know how to make a sandwich at the end of the day, right?
Well, it's not, well, he's still eating.
He's still eating.
You might not know how to make it, but he's still eating.
Yeah, but what happens when, the food's gone and, you want to make something fresh or whatever? I don't know. I think even just basically learn how to make a sandwich. Yeah. I'm telling you, but it will bless his world.
It will rock his world. But here's the deal. It's this whole segment today is, we could park on a sandwich, but it's sandwich and sex. You know what I'm saying? It's sex and a sandwich.
It's the couple.
It's the couple together. Anything else?
So
here's what I believe. I feel like you take care of me very well. We've been married for 25 years. And I think there's a mindset.
I try.
Okay. I want you to just share with our women. I want you to bless women today. I want you to bless wives today. I really want you to bless them. I want you to bless them. I want you to add value to their lives. Can I get some horns right there? I need you to, come on, can I get a scratch right there? I need you to add some value to their lives. Just the greatest gift we could give people is mindset and perspectives. Now, what they do with it is completely up to them.
Absolutely.
But as a man, I feel taken care of, and I heard this years ago that when you eat well at home, you never have to eat out.
Come on.
Okay. And so I never feel like I have to eat out because I eat very well at home. But you've positioned it that way.
So good. And I heard somebody say, the world is a buffet. Don't send your man out hungry. Baby, the buffet is at home in the house. You can eat buffet at home.
There's some brothers, the last thing you want for your husband is to be horny and hungry.
Yeah,
that's the last thing you want.
That.
Him walking around in these streets nowadays, horny and hungry.
So honestly, just knowing that, you know what I mean? Because, just like we said, counseling so many people and hearing what other men have to say, I'm like, I do my best not to send you out over to Africa horny and hungry.
Hey, but here's the thing. But when you hear that, woman of God, please don't hear like your man is some animal and he's a gorilla.
No.
You're different. And that's what we need to embrace each other's differences. So I know that you're an emotional being first. You like sex like I like sex, but it's more physical for me. It's a little bit more emotional for you.
Well,
and
what turns me on,
I can't demonize that in you. And you can't demonize that in me.
Right.
We got to come to the place where we know each other's differences and we actually embrace them instead of demonize them.
Right. I was going to say what turns me on begins emotional for me. It starts with the emotions. What turns you on might be looking at me, seeing my hair, my face, my legs, whatever. And that's okay. I think that we have a sexual appetite, the man and a woman, but I think the man's sexual appetite is definitely different than the women.
Right.
And that doesn't make you wrong. It makes you a man. Yeah. And it makes me a woman.
Yeah. So I embrace how you are, how God has made you. I'm not demonizing you. I don't want you to be like me. And I think we can't be like that towards our men either. We need to say, okay, that's how God's made them. Now, how can I meet those needs? And I'm just saying, that's what you've done for me. And I think you're going to add some value here. So can you just share with us, what are some things that you've done to make sure that your man is not hungry and horny? Sex and a sandwich. What have you done? Very simple.
I think let's just talk about the sex side. I feel like we talked about the sandwich a lot. I mean, and that's just basically making a meal. I mean, I can say a little bit, so let's just say it's 8:00 on a Thursday night and, and you came home and you already had dinner, but like you're a little bit hungry or whatever. I mean, I can go down and make you a sandwich. You know what I mean? It's no big deal. Just make you a sandwich. And especially if it's a day where it's been, maybe you're stressed out or whatever, sandwich and sex.
It's a good day. Today is a good day.
It's like so easy. But okay, so the sex part, I would like to say, I don't know. I think with women, there's so many issues that we have, you know what I mean? We have our periods every 28 days. We have PMS, we have menopause, we have babies. I mean, hormonally, there's so much that we deal with. And so it's a real issue for us. But I think, and sometimes we have to just normalize, what sex is, and that normalize that sex isn't just like some perfect thing, and that it's okay to just kind of, all right, it's, 6 o'clock on a Friday evening, and I would like to go take a shower and brush my teeth and wash my face and spray on some hairspray and maybe a little lip gloss and stuff before we have sex. But you know what? I don't have time for that. So, hey, he doesn't care anyway. You know what I mean? So let's just go and have fun. I think sometimes as women, we overthink it.
Okay.
Like we overthink it. I want to be perfect. I'll speak for myself. I want to be perfect. I want to smell good, look good. But really, it's for me, because I don't, and you can speak for yourself. I mean, yeah, you don't want me to be unattractive, but was there ever a time that, don't tell me, that you, I don't know if I want the answer to this question.
Okay.
But no, just answer it though.
Okay.
Was there ever a time where you're like, okay, we're going to have sex, but you're like, oh, gross. I don't want to have sex with this woman. She's, stinky or ugly, or I don't know, like where you're just turned off. I feel like, and I'll say this before you answer, because there's been so many times before we are about to have sex where I have felt, now this is maybe having kids, newborn babies, surgery, sickness, all this stuff, that I have felt like, I just feel like I need to go take a shower. I'm not fresh. I don't feel attractive. I don't feel sexy. My head is just not in it. Oh my gosh, the kids are outside. Let me lock the door. Like I have felt, like I don't want to do this. But because I have trained myself to be like, you know what, girl, get over it. Enjoy your husband. Enjoy your life. He don't care. Get in here, you know what I mean, and have some fun. I kind of, I do that in the end and I win. But I'm just saying, as far as overthinking it, that's a woman's mind. Like, have you ever came to sex like that, like feeling, oh, I just feel ugly and I just feel like I'm so gross right now?
I don't think so. No, I mean, I'm searching.
You
my
look
brain.
like you're on another planet right now. Like,
okay, so there's so many questions, and then
sorry.
Hit me with the crickets. Hit me with the crickets, because I wasn't sure you wanted me to answer it for real. So I'm confused.
I do want you to be real,
and then I'm not sure that I should answer them. So I have personally not come to sex feeling like, oh, I'm dirty and nasty and I feel bad that I can remember.
I didn't think so.
No, not at all. Never that I can remember. And I do not remember ever feeling like you're that, so I don't want to have sex. I can remember feeling like, oh man, she is sick. She doesn't feel good. She has 101 temperature. Is this appropriate in this moment? She had gas all day. I don't know.
Is she going to get me sick too?
If this is going to go. So, you just do it from the back or something. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's, you don't breathe on me. You know what I mean? Like, this is for married people only today.
You're giving me a hot flash.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, but no, in the mind of a man, and we need to have real talks. This is not Sunday morning from
because
stage
I
where
know,
there's 12-year-olds. This is like a marriage podcast. We need to have real talks. No, that ain't what I'm thinking at all. Not at all.
And because we've had these conversations before, I know that. Like, I know, like, I'd be like, oh, babe, but man, I was just at the game and I'm kind of hot. Let me take a shower first. And you're like, I ain't got time for a shower, girl.
Now, I would say that when you put attention to it, and you go
nice.
in and you put on some lip gloss and you got candles on, and it looks like this is something that you want, not something that I sprung on you. That is more of a turn on. But sometimes we've been married 25 years. Nobody got time for that. We got 5 minutes before we got to jump out and take a kid to basketball practice or something. It's just life.
Right.
And so we have a thing that we call them quickies and longies. So quickies is like, we're going to do this real quick. We got somewhere to go. A longie is where I'm going to come to
we're going
to
take our time.
We're going to come to orgasm. We're going to take our time. That's a longie. So sometimes we'll go into the encounter like, is this going to be a quickie or a longie? And it just, I mean, but you develop that over 25 years. Like, but I think your point is that, what was your point with the asking me these questions? It's like, so I don't think like you think.
Right. And I started out with saying that women tend to overthink the whole sex thing.
Okay.
And we need to have everything perfect and everything needs to be right for us to have sex. And I think that limits the whole experience. It puts too much pressure. It takes the fun out of it, the spontaneity out of it.
Okay.
And you'll end up doing it once a week because no time is ever really perfect.
I think there's people out there doing it less than that, baby.
Yeah, I know.
That's the problem that we're having. Okay, let's do this. Give me more.
Okay.
Give me more. What else can you say if you were to say how to take care of your man? So he's a simple being. We've got that. Sex is from God. We've got that. I think that there's a woman out there that can admit she's humble. I can feel her. She's like, okay, I got to get this area right. I want to meet the needs of my man. Help her. Bring some more value.
I would just say talk about it.
Okay.
Be open about it. If you have any hesitancies, past trauma, you feel insecure about certain things, talk about it. Some of you may need to get help. You may need to go talk to a good Christian counselor. You know, you may need to overcome, whatever things that are holding you back.
Yeah.
Because a lot of women that I talk to as well, they are more frigid or kind of sheepish in the bedroom because of...
Time out on that one. So I just got a question. So some of the same women who are frigid now with their husbands was freaky. They wasn't frigid before they got married. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What happened?
Ooh, I don't know. That's
So it's almost like they shouldn't have been doing what they were doing. All right, because the Bible talks about how sex is between a married man and a married woman. Sex outside of that context is what we call sexual immorality. But a lot of people didn't know God or live fully for God, okay? And so they were out there doing whatever, okay? And then they got married and then became more frigid as years went on. Kids, responsibilities, I'm sleepy, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just, from a man's perspective, I'm just
I'll
asking.
speak from my own experiences and some of the people that I've talked to. I think, sometimes before we get married, and especially for myself, I had sex before I was married because I thought it was an expression of love. I thought that this was my way to let him know that I love him. This is my way to keep him. And as long as he has sex with me, I know that he loves me. So I was willing to give it then because it was like that's how I knew that you love me. I needed to keep you that way. Does that make sense? It was that emotional connection that I wanted. But then once we get married, if we have unresolved issues with our bodies or our past, those things didn't go anywhere. They're coming back. And now we're married. You're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Because I know that you love me. You said yes, you married me. You're here. I mean, do you know what I mean? The mindset is different. And now it's more so like, it turned, no, you can't have me because I don't know if I trust you.
That's trickery.
I don't know if you like me.
That's crazy.
It's backwards, but it happens.
But it all goes back to what you said, unresolved issues. And that's all we want to do today. And I feel like this episode is painful for someone, but if you can push through the pain, I believe that there's great harvest and breakthrough and blessing and also healing on the other side of some of these difficult conversations.
There's healing. It's rewarding. I will say because, I was sexually abused myself growing up. I was sexually assaulted as a young woman. And so I was that woman, before we got married. We had sex before we got married and we had a great sex life. And then, we got married and I had to overcome these issues and the trauma from my past. And it was hard. It wasn't easy, but you can do it. And I faced those things with God, with the Word of God, with Christian counselor, with praise and worship, all of those things. And it's been, over 23 years now. And I've been healed of depression. I've been healed of anxiety and anger and all of those things that plagued me, which put a weight on our sex life. Here's what I'm trying to say. If you've experienced traumatic past with, sexual, whatever, you can overcome.
Right.
You can overcome and you can have a great sex life. It can be everything you want it to be. You're going to have to work for it.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that. I'm thinking
What
a little
troubles
bit
you?
about, it doesn't trouble me. I'm just thinking about the person who has not a good sex life and they don't have trauma.
Well,
They didn't have that trauma.
You gotta want it. You gotta want it. If you don't want to have a great sexual life, you're just not gonna want to.
Okay.
If you don't want to please your man, you're just not going to.
Okay.
I view you as, I want to be the queen. I view you as my king.
Okay.
I want to do what the word says.
Right.
And I want to be a crown to your head.
Come on.
I want you to be like, I am the man.
Yeah.
I want to be like, I am the best wife in the world.
Right.
I don't need to be the best wife to anyone else, but to you, I need you to be like, there's no one else that I could ever even think about, because my woman is the best.
Okay.
That's how I want to be to you.
Right.
And so sex in a sandwich, there it is.
Okay. And that's in return, how I want to be to you. And at that crossroads, great marriages are born. Anything else that you could give women to add value of how you take care of your man, how to take care of him, sex in a sandwich specifically. Anything else?
I don't know. I think I've said it all.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay. Well, I got a few.
Oh, come on.
And this is for my sisters because I love y'all.
Okay.
I love y'all. I do. I love the ladies. I don't love the ladies inappropriately.
Watch out.
No, I mean I love ladies. I do. I love my mom.
I love the
I got
ladies.
a sister.
I love the ladies.
I love
I
my
love the
sister.
fellas.
Yeah.
You know, I love the fellas. How's that feel?
It
don't
feels
feel right, does it?
You need to stop it, girl.
I love the ladies.
I didn't mean like I love the ladies. Like
I know,
from
baby.
the Himalaya
I
kind of
know.
love the ladies. I just meant like I respect women.
Yeah.
I've never hit you, abused you, did
Amen.
anything that I've even flirted with another woman in 23 years. So when women, and it's amazing, they hear me just as a man, giving a man perspective, they can hear it through their trauma. But
Right.
I respect women.
Yes.
I value women. I'm the person that's always trying to build up women. I have 2 daughters. I thought my third was going to be a daughter, and I was happy about it. He I was believing for a son because I already had 2 daughters. But for some reason, if it was a daughter, I was going to be the greatest girl's dad ever. So I love ladies. So hopefully this can just bring some perspective and value, just from a man's perspective. But here's some things that I thought of how to take care of your husband's needs. All right, find out his sexual rhythm and try to meet him there. Okay. So is he the kind of guy that wants to have sex every 2 days, every 3 days, every day, once a week? Okay. Normally what happens is that we have someone who's frigid married someone who's a rabbit. You know what I'm saying? Someone who so there's one spouse that wants to have sex all the time and one person that could really not even think about it and, once a quarter. So what you have to do is you have to have communication and find out, just ask a question. Here, you can ask, sit down. How often would you like to have sex? And if he's like every other day, okay, can we meet each other somewhere in the middle? Or better yet, can you just submit to that and say, my body's not my own. I'm not gonna defraud. Is that the word? Or say no to sex.
Yes.
Okay? So I'm gonna somehow get up for that rhythm. And then hopefully he will ask you, how often would you? And hopefully there can be a conversation in the middle, somewhere. Okay, so that's number one. The second piece of advice that I would give you is for you to initiate sex sometimes. Okay, woman of God, you initiate sex sometimes.
That's a real thing. Yeah.
It is, because sometimes, and like a man loves to pursue, okay? Historically, we are hunters. We like to go out. We like to catch, I am not a big fan of ladies who are proposing to their husbands. I feel like you might snag you someone who will not lead you later on how you want to be led because you took over from the beginning. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion, all right? But this is what I do believe. I believe that in a marriage, we both should initiate sex sometimes. Like it's a turn on when you're like, hey, babe, let's go upstairs. Hey, what you doing tonight? Okay, wait, I'm gonna be ready for you. I'm like, what? But if it's me all the time and it's all the time, I'm just trying to get you ready and get you ready. There's just something that's appealing to a man about a woman who wants it as well.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that, anytime I'm like, hey, babe, you are always down and always here for it. And I think that, you enjoy it. You enjoy it.
Pretty much. All right. Here's another piece of advice. I would say make yourself attractive around the house. Okay. So God has created a man to be a visual being. And right now, the thing with men is that we are bombarded by visuals. Okay. Social media, explore page, billboards, magazines. Okay. So a man of God, you have to learn to discipline your flesh. Okay. And to have eyes for your wife and to focus. Now, whatever you focus on is going to expand. So you have to start to focus on her beauty, her sexiness, her appeal, her personality. Don't focus, and many people in marriage, they focus on what they don't like about their spouse. And so you're filled with fault-finding, criticism, and negative thoughts. You can intentionally make a choice that I'm going to like this. So you don't like his nose, but you like his smile. Okay, focus on the smile. Don't focus on the nose. Or say, oh, man, start to convince yourself that the nose is cute. You know what I'm saying? You have to control. See, this is what I call mind monsters. And we got to get control of the warfare that's happening in the mind, okay? So make yourself attractive around the house. Men don't always want to go to sleep with Aunt Jemima. He doesn't want a woman who's always in flannels. He does not want a woman. Sometimes
you are stirring up trouble.
Sometimes he wants to see, okay, because he's a visual being, he wants to see a little bit of a negligee, or maybe a little bit of nudity, or maybe a little bit of something. Just, so what happens, and I don't know why this is trouble. Please
It's
tell me.
trouble.
Why is that?
Somebody is mad at you right now.
Well, I don't care about that.
I
but why?
think because you can hear it through ears of, man, I just want to relax when I go home.
I'm not saying don't
What?
relax.
What you mean? I have to wear makeup in the house? I got to have my hair done. Can I just be me? Can he just not love me for me? What does that mean?
Okay, well, that's a perspective. But if your marriage ain't good, listen to another perspective. And the other perspective is this. You get dressed up to go to work and give everybody your best. You got your high heels on, you got a skirt that's probably a little too short, got your makeup looking good, and then you come home and give the one that you took his last name crumbs. And you want to know why your sex life is not all that. It's because you're giving everybody else your best, and you're giving the most important person in your life your leftovers. And I'm not saying that you got to dress up and, have on makeup at 10 o'clock at night. And what I'm saying, just pay attention to.
I'll speak to that, though, because I know what you're saying. I did that on purpose because and I want to say to the wives listening, and maybe you feel some kind of way about what he just said. This is a man's perspective.
A man's man.
This is probably your man's perspective, okay?
Maybe.
And so,
If you're married to a man's man.
So for me, here's what I do, though, because I understand that you want to see something that looks good. I mean, I want to see something that looks good. I don't want you walking around looking crazy,
Right.
But anyway, for me, I take that and I mean, no, of course, I can wear no makeup. I can, I'm not at home like looking like I'm on a magazine cover. But I wake up in the morning and I brush my teeth, okay? I put on lip gloss or lips or chapstick. Actually, in my nightstand by my bed, I keep some essential oils. I keep some lubrication. I keep some breath spray, and I keep some lip gloss because I just want my lips to.
You preach
I
good,
just
girl.
personally. Because for me, I just want to feel feminine. I want to feel beautiful. And, so if like in the middle of the night, something happens, I can always go and put it in the drawer and turn around and act like I just been fresh the whole time, baby. This is how God made me. I'm telling all my secrets. But you already know that I'm not. You've seen me have 3 kids. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. So anyway, I think it's the little things, like like my hair. It might be I'll pull my hair up instead of having it, I don't know, crazy. I'll put it up in a little bun, a messy bun on top of my head. Just try to keep some type of, attraction there.
So my advice, thank you for that. My advice would be to ask your man what he likes.
Yeah, that's it.
So if he likes flannels, rock a flannel.
Come on.
If he likes whatever he likes, figure that out.
Yeah.
And it's not an every night thing. This is not legalism. This is just like pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Same goes for men. Like we're getting a lot of comments and DMs and things where the women are like, I'm just not attracted to him anymore. He's overweight. He's not. Would you please teach men about hygiene? I need to do a whole podcast on man's hygiene. I was taught
so
years
thankful
ago.
that
you
you
go
have
into a
good
sexual
hygiene.
encounter with your wife, wash your hands.
Yeah.
Clean out from beneath your fingernails.
Yeah.
Make sure your breath is fresh. Make sure your hairs are trimmed. You got you got bush everywhere, brother. Like, come on, man. No, like we need to give each other our best.
Yeah.
I want to still be attractive for you, 65, 70 years old. I want to give you my best. I want to let myself go.
Yeah.
So, sake of time, I got to move on. Ask him what he likes. I think that's huge. That would be a piece of advice. Don't demonize him for being a man, thinking he's visual. That's not bad. Don't demonize him. Don't approach sex and intimacy out of obligation. Oh, the Bible tells me I got to give you some. Or we know how your sex drive is. Man, no, keep it. Literally.
Wow.
Like, there's guys who's walking around like, if that's what it's going to be, I'll go around 3-4 months. I don't even care. Like, don't make it like an obligation. My hope is that, we can teach, because I don't know where this happens, but really sex should be enjoyable for man and woman, period. And if sex is not enjoyable for the woman, I think that's where we got to start the conversation. Why?
Yeah.
Is there something, not buttons he's not pushing, things he doesn't know? Because it should be enjoyable for man and woman. And I'll leave it at that for today. Do you have anything else you wanted to jump on? I felt like your mouth was watering, like you wanted to say something.
No, I think you said it all very well. There was a point that I had, but I forget it, so it's probably
Well, let it go.
Done. Yeah,
well,
let it go.
Hey,
but sex in a sandwich.
Sex in a sandwich.
That's good advice.
We have helped somebody today. If this has brought value to you, has given you a different perspective to chew on and consider, you gotta let us know. Email us, all right? The email address is in the show notes. Comment, share this with everybody you know, men and women alike. We're gonna stir some stuff up so that we can have great, deep conversations, so that we can make married sex great again. Come on, somebody, all right? Hey, we're out of time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Doing Life with Ken and Tabatha. We love you guys. We're praying for you. Just know that you are not alone. Our entire team, we are committed to bringing you every single Thursday at 3 p.m. life-changing, enhancing content to help you grow closer to God and the people that God has placed in your life. If you are ever in Florida, come worship with us at a live church.
Yes.
We have campuses in Orlando, Tampa, also Gainesville, and who knows, maybe coming to a city near you soon. We have all kinds of marriage products and things that we offer. Jump over to our website, browse around, check out our boot camp, the devotionals and different things that we have. And just remember this, that when you get better, the marriage gets better. We'll see you next time. Peace.